Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So I will be talking a brief about data ingestion today. So obviously, in data cloud, data ingestion is very important because that's how you bring the structure or unstructured data into the data cloud. Now, I may not have told you this, right? So when you talk about data cloud, if I take a step back, if I may, you could have so there are two ways you can get the data cloud, right? First, you can have a standalone org, right? Let's say if you have multiple orgs in your business, right? Let's say sales org or service org, and they are geographic based, right? So you have separate orgs. Let's say for Australia, you have a separate org. Let's say for United States or a separate org for New Zealand, based on your business needs, right? Maybe you are a shipping company, or maybe you're a retailer, right, who does things different in different location. So in that case, it makes total sense to have a separate data org, separate org for data cloud. But however, if you're a single org business, right, then some business might prefer to have the data cloud installed on top of the org, right? So which means that it sits on top of the other clouds you have in the same org. So that's something you need to consider if you're architecting um, solution using data cloud. You need to figure out whether you need a standalone org, or or you can um, install that to your existing org. Now, like I said, right, data cloud is all about data, right? Obviously, as I said in my previous lectures, right, you can ingest the data from different sources. Could be from your multiple Salesforce org. It could be from MuleSoft, where APIs. It could be through other places, right? Amazon S3, you could do that. Could also do from Google, right? You can also use Excel. You can use pretty much different, the data input points, right? And so that is one of the key advantage when it comes to data cloud. You can pretty much bring the structured and unstructured data. Now, data cloud is based on a medallion architecture. If you're from a data warehouse or data lake space, you might have heard about the data design pattern. That's a medallion architecture. So this is a Databricks um, documentation. So, but it's the concept is the same. So as you can see, right, I'll explain in a very simple nutshell, and you will understand why it's important from a data cloud space, because you know um, this architecture forms the foundation, right? So where you can go from bronze and silver to the gold, right? So it's like I said, right? It's a design pattern used to organize the data in a lakehouse, with the goal of incrementing and progressively improving the structure and quality of data as it flows through each layer of the architecture, right? So, which is like bronze, silver, gold, right? Now, in in data cloud, right? We have data stream, we have data lake objects, we have data model, then we have AI analytics, Tableau, and other stuff, right? So data stream, right? So if I go to the data stream, right, you will see I got a few streams here. So what does data stream do? So it will connect there's an option to connect to an external source to bring the data in, right? To ingest the data in. So in this case, I've ingested lead, account, and contact. Now, unfortunately, right, I'm using um, the free playground trial org. So I can't show you different connectors, as you can see here. And someone was telling me, hey, if you register for a loyalty cloud, you could get the data cloud. I tried, but I couldn't see data cloud anywhere. yes, you could integrate with the data cloud. That's besides the point, right? So in this case, right, usually what happens when you have a data cloud installed, you can go to a data. So you have, come on, it's pretty clunky and slow, unfortunately. Maybe it's a trial. That's why you will have something called data cloud setup. So in that, there's an option called Salesforce CRM where you can configure the connection to a different org. You could connect this to a marketing cloud as well, right? But you can't connect to the multiple instances of marketing cloud. So that's one of the thing. And also you could connect to different other data sources, right? So you could bring the data in, so the data gets ingested. So in this case, what I've done, um, so I because that's the only options I have. Or you could also use all of this stuff, right? AWS, Azure, Cosmos DB, all the stuff you can bring the data in. There are lots of sources you can use, right? It's quite flexible. It connects to pretty much different data points. So I could only able to choose a couple of objects. That's a sales object, and when I said next, I'll show you how it works either way, right? So I mean, I do have license for enterprise, but that's a work one. I can't really show that, unfortunately, because it contains the work data. And as you understand, right, it's not a good practice to demo on a work data. So because of the NDA and other stuff, right? So I prefer not to do that. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. Um, so the sales one, this is the only objects I can select. But like I said, it's a trial org. Um, I mean, I do remember they changed a lot of Salesforce changes a few things. So if you know, right, if there's another way you can get access to data cloud, please do let me know. Right? I'll be very keen. So and then you can do next, and so I could select these through contact. You can also add the formula field if you want, right? And then you can add the data spacings and filters. Now, data spacing is like to segment your data. So, for instance, like I have, let's say, huge set of data, but out of, let's say, let me give you an example, right? I want to see, like, we have certain products, right, which ships to a certain zip code. Now, only certain people are entitled to know which products goes into certain zip code. So having a data space will help you that because you can add filters. You can make sure that the data is segmented. Let's say I wanted to have so a group of users should only have access to the data that's shipped to New Zealand, right? So that can comes under one data space and group of user. Um, you know, I'm just making up, right? So data space is generally used for segmenting data. We'll look into that. And then I can deploy, right? What happens is that it will bring your data into your ingest the data, in a physical form, right? And then this data get ingested into something called data lake objects, which is like an object which maintains, the record of the data which you are ingesting. So, like you say, contact, and you can total records. It's like a physical storage, right? Physical form, and then these records are, transformed um, into a structured way so that it can be used for something else like modeling and other stuff. That's where the data model comes into picture. So if you look at the medallion architecture, right? So we start with the bronze, right? And I can say data lake objects and data model comes into silver, and then the data what you got, right? How it's getting used by a business, right? In the form of Tableau or analytics, right? And that's where the gold concept comes into picture. So data is improving at different layers of architecture because where you massage your data, where you apply identity resolution and all kind of stuff. Right? I'll talk about that just for now. So if you look at the data like objects, right? So the objects where it's like data like objects, if you ask me, it's like a container which holds your ingested data, right? So this is what it is. Now it is a raw data, but you can massage it. So I'll show you how to massage it. So if you go to contact home, you could say, you see, here you can say these are the fields and API names and the data type. Now, if you look at the right hand side, right, you can say default spaces belongs to default space, which don't worry about it. The fields map. So not every field is mapped. So that's something you can fix it. If you go to review, um, you can see that it's by default is mapped to the right stuff here, uh, which is like your data model, canonical model. So like for instance, account ID maps to account names map to this. So for instance, some of the fields are not mapped. For instance, languages, maybe you can map somewhere here, unmapped, could be, maybe not, maybe you need a field. I'll pick something else, right? Yeah, last modified date could be, it tells you where you can do, um, yeah, you can do that. La, it's pretty clunky, eh? Um, oh yeah, it does somewhere. I don't know where it goes. Uh, just, oh yeah, it's already connected, so that's why it then lets you do that. Reports to ID. Um, Actually, other city, right? Hang on a second. This one, other city, mailings, other city. Like if I do other city and I do city name, you see, other city got mapped, right? So, and like this, you can map, right, different fields so that, and once you map it, you can save it. And so this is an opportunity where you can, where you're trying to see, the things when you ingest it, it don't automatically map. So you can map it to the right, data model so that you get, proper representation of the data in a structured way. So that's, like I said, unfortunately, I cannot show you the ingestion from different source because it just doesn't allow me. But that being said, I'll be highly grateful if you could tell me, is there any other way you guys have figured out a free org, which will help me do that. Yep. That being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Adios.